Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the I Will Teach You a Language podcast. Hope you're having a great day. I'm sitting here recording this episode with some really nice tea that my buddy Jeremy in Mexico told me about, and I'm really enjoying this tea. I'm going to tell you what it is because it's cool, and I tend to have it mid-morning when I'm starting to get a bit hungry. I make this tea, and it just knocks the hunger dead, and gives me this nice little energy boost as well. So what you do is you take cacao nibs, all right, and you get a tablespoon of cacao nibs, and you chuck it in a teapot, and then you add a bunch of hot water to make the tea, and then you add some cinnamon, some turmeric, and a bit of stevia for the sweetener as well, if you like. And it tastes like hot chocolate. I mean, when Jeremy told me that this thing tastes like hot chocolate, I didn't believe him, but it does. It's really nice and rich, and it's really, really nice. So give it a try. You've got cacao nibs. You might have to go to your local health food store to try and to get, and they're a little bit expensive. But if you want to try something new this week, I really recommend that. Anyway, this is a language learning podcast, despite what I've just said. And today we've got a very interesting question about experimenting with movies and watching, mixing up the languages and the subtitles and all the stuff like that. Now, with today's question, here's Crystal. And Crystal, I should apologise. I did have to cut a little bit of your question because it was really long. So hopefully I haven't cut out too much. But anyway, here we go.
Hi, Ollie. My name is Crystal, and I want to thank you for all the great information. It's kind of weird for me to just kind of speak in the air, so I will try. So, when I come to learning a new language, I live in a foreign country, and I've been here for almost 2 years. I thought I'd be completely fluent, but I find enough people, expats and such, that speak English as their native language where I only speak enough Spanish to get by, and then I got really lazy about it. So I love your articles. A lot of them sort of reaffirm for me what some of the things that I do is correct, and also, or some of the things I do are it's correct what I'm doing. So I'm the type of person where my reading is all right and my speaking is okay. It's really hard to get into sort of a rhythm, and I'm the type of person where all of the words run together, and I can't single out a single word of what anyone's saying. Now, I'm responding to your article about watching movies in another language. So what I find, like I said, audibly just does not work very well for me. I can't decipher anything. If we put it in Spanish and put English subtitles, I just ring the subtitles. However, if I doing the Netflix thing, Netflix always has the Spanish subtitles. It's great because I've picked up a lot of vocabulary coming through there, and that's helped me. So I don't really know exactly my question, but what do you think about watching TV in English with language in question subtitles?
Hey, Crystal, thank you very much for your question. And you got there in the end. There was a question in there right at the end. But, I appreciate your question, and it's okay that you took some time to kind of express your thoughts, because what I can hear in your voice is you're thinking about the issue. You're trying to sort of put your finger on what it is that you're struggling with. And I really identify with that because that's all part of the language learning process. So I quite enjoyed listening to your question, even though I did unfortunately have to cut out a little bit of it. Now, I'm not quite sure how helpful I can be here, but I will try to tease out some of the things that I think you're getting at, because, I think there are some valuable lessons in here, and I think maybe through just kind of talking about this and batting it back and forward, listeners might find some value in it. So there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. First of all is that you said you've been getting a lot of value from watching English movies with Spanish subtitles. Now, any time that you can identify something you're doing that's valuable, I'd say keep doing it. Now, it doesn't matter what I say about watching movies, what anybody else says. If you find that you are learning and growing your vocabulary by doing that, then keep doing it. Don't let anybody tell you not to do it. I remember once I was in Brazil, and I was staying with my friend Deborah in Rio. And I got really sick. I'd just come back from Bahia, and I picked up some horrible virus, and I was really sick for about 4 or 5 days. So all I could do really is sit in her brother's room and watch movies. And I remember watching these Woody Allen movies that he had in English with Portuguese subtitles. And I remember also really enjoying that. I remember thinking, you know what, this is interesting because I understand everything that's going on because it's in English. And yet because the subtitles are in Portuguese, I'm picking up these words that I never would otherwise. Okay, so I remember that being useful. So keep that up for sure. Anytime you find something that's working, keep doing it. Double down. I usually find that, like, if there's something that's working and you do it, you keep doing it, it will run its course eventually. You know, it'll have a lifespan where you'll start to think to yourself one day, you know what, this is not as useful as it used to be. Now, the other thing that I picked out from what you were saying is that, you know, you're fine reading, you're fine speaking, but you have trouble listening and you have trouble picking out individual words, which we've been talking about a lot recently on the podcast. It's this thing of how do you improve your listening comprehension when everybody around you is speaking so quickly. So I won't repeat what I always say about this, other than to make the point that the best thing you can do, Crystal, in this situation to improve your listening is finding stuff that you can listen to and read along with the transcript. Because then any situation where you don't understand it, you've got the help there you need to refer to the words that are actually being spoken, right? So on that basis, if you're kind of struggling with spoken Spanish, you're struggling to understand what's being said, then my reaction is, well, it doesn't seem to make sense then for you to be listening to movies in English. Because then what are you doing to improve your Spanish listening comprehension, right? I think I would much rather, if you can do this on Netflix, watch the movies in Spanish with Spanish subtitles. Because then, if you don't understand stuff, you can then at least associate it with the words that are coming up on the screen. Now, obviously, this is harder. It's more work, right? Because you can't just sit back and relax, because you've got to pay attention to the Spanish. And this is part of the problem with movies. I think people watch movies because they want to chill out, but really to make the most out of them, you've really got to focus. Something that I've done before is actually I'll watch a movie, but I'll do it at my desk with a piece of paper, and I'm sitting up straight, so I'm kind of like I'm paying attention, and I can make notes and I can pause. You've got to be active. It's not enough just to kind of sit back and hope that it soaks in. It will over many years, but we're talking a lot of years there. So yeah, that's what I got for you. That's all really. I'm not sure I've got much more to say, other than that is the 2 points there. It's like, do what is working, do more of what's working, but also do try to focus on your weaknesses. So if you've identified listening as a weakness, then do things that are likely to help address that specific weakness. So if you want to keep watching movies, put them in Spanish with subtitles. Otherwise, I would be looking at going and finding material that is good for listening. Comes with full transcripts. I run a Spanish website called the Fluent Spanish Academy, and in there we have one of the main things that we do is create materials that help you with your listening comprehension, because it's such a big problem. So we've got, for example, recorded conversations between native speakers that come fully transcribed. We've got these collections of short stories, which are, again, have the audio and come fully transcribed, so you can listen and read. Everything we do kind of has this component of audio and text, so that when you do that over time, it just helps to build up your listening comprehension. So I hope that's helpful, Crystal. Thanks for the question, and best of luck with your Spanish. If you'd like to ask me a question, you can. There's quite a queue at the moment, but if you get in now, then hopefully within a month or two, I might be able to get through to your question. The place to do that is iwillteachyoualanguage.com/ask. Now, at the end of every episode, I'd like to leave you with a resource of some kind, and Crystal referenced an article I wrote some time ago that has been, it's one of the most successful articles on the blog, actually. It's also quite controversial because everybody likes watching movies in foreign languages. They don't always like to hear that it might be not such a good use of time as they thought. So if you'd like to explore this article and follow along with my thoughts and my reasonings and my arguments, then you can. I'll put a link to this in the show notes, which will be at iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 204. Thank you for listening. I'll see you back in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free, see if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. storylearning.com/courses.